Hello, my friends, Luke here, and sweet mama's pajamas, do I have a fun game for you. My father-in-law leaves in like a day or two. This is the last chance we're going to have to play a Battle of Warhammer, and you know what? The Dwarfs are getting released, a new book next month. It's basically confirmed at this point. Our two armies are set up, they're just staring at each other. I mean, what better army to fight the Dwarfs? A last game on the old rules than the Greenskins. I'm ready. Let's do it. My father-in-law says, well, what point should we play at? Got an idea. Why don't we just play with every single thing I brought? So, well, I don't know if I have enough models for that. We'll dig them up, dust them off. And yeah, buddy, we end up with 5,000 points on each side. We've got a massive game, and it's going to be freaking awesome. This is what the Orcs and Goblins bring. Look, it's weighing the table down. The table is about to snap on this edge because of the Orcs and Goblins. And on this side, there are some dwarves. I mean, look at my poor dog. He's even sad for my father-in-law. That sad face is like, is this all you can bring at 5,000 points? That's kind of pathetic. But who cares? We're going to have fun. He has a lot of artillery. We're just going to blow the hell out of each other, and it's going to be a game, buddy. So let's go through the endless hordes of the Green Tide. We've got a Mangler Squig. Looks like a 40k model, but the base is the right size. A Doom Diver. A Goblin Chariot. A Squig Herd with 7 wide and 7 Night Goblins, so that's like 21 Squigs, 7 Night Goblins. We've got 50 Night Goblins with a normal Goblin Hero in there with a great weapon, and a level 2 Night Goblin in there. A group of 5 Wolf Riders. That's right, I brought a giant. A giant standing next to an Arachnarok. We got 5 Spider Riders. We have the Malorian. We have a horde of Black Orcs. We have a horde of Savages, and we have a horde of Trolls. I mean, I'm just so excited for this. And they're all right next to each other. I mean, it's just going to be great. And then I'm going to spice it up a little bit because I need the points. I throw Grimgor in there as the general. Those Black Orcs now, they're basically tougher. They're kind of like big and upgraded. And they have hatred. So yeah, I've got a level 4. Even though I'm fighting Dwarfs and he's got all the points in the world, I know I'm not going to get any magic off. I have a level 4 in there anyway. He's got the Lucky Shrunken Head. I've got a Black Orc BSB to quell some animosity. A Boar Chariot. 10 Boar Boys, another Boar Chariot, another group of 5 Wolf Riders, a second Mangler, a Spear Chukka, a Rock Lava, 50 more Night Goblins with a level 1 hero, and another Spear Chukka. That's 4 Spear Chukkas, 1 Rock Lava, and 1 Doom Diver. I even brought the War Machines, man. This is awesome. I just wish I had more like Night Goblin style, like what are those things called? The Pump Wagons. I could just flood this board with crap that I didn't care about. But mostly, I'm kind of heavy into the Orc side. What do we have here for the Dwarfs? We've got an organ gun. So every piece of artillery has, I apparently forgot, but I tried to put an asterisk by every one to indicate that there is an engineer paid for it. He's spending money like crazy, spending points like crazy. We got an organ gun. We got a grudge thrower. We got a 5-pack of Slayers, a gyrocopter. We got a cannon in the background, a cannon again. We have Quarrelers. We have High King Thorngrim himself. 7 wounds. The guy's got the Book of Grudges. He's on a big old, I'm too fat to walk, so carry me on my throne. We got a group of Thunderers next to him. A horde of Hammerers with BSB and Runesmith in there. I forgot to mention there is, nope, just 2 cannons so far. 3rd cannon's right there on the right. An Anvil of Doom on the hill, a Bolt Thrower, and a single Dragon Slayer. I feel like I've got him outnumbered 10-1. Probably actually do, model-wise. Off the board, he actually has a couple units that are going to come on. He's got a horde of scouting Longbeards that are going to come on. He also has 2 groups of miners. It is crazy. Here's a picture of my force on, I guess this would be my right flank and my left flank. We go to Vanguard movement. The Wolfies move up. The Spiders move up because they can go right over the building. And then we go to Orcs and Goblins turn 1, because of course the Greenskins get to go first. So the general advance here, there's no charges to begin with. The Wolf Riders go War Machine hunting to begin with. Mangler doesn't go too far out there. The Trolls kind of angle forward. They're going to be leading the pack and soaking up as many wounds. You can kind of see here, the horde of Trolls is a beautiful, beautiful sight. Malorian, why did I ever doubt you? This is awesome. I'm very excited. On this side, the Giant goes up forward, and the Arachnarok's just kind of backing him up. You can see that blue arrow. That's where his scouting Longbeards have come in. They've got great weapons, and the Mangler just takes off after them, and they kind of an average roll, maybe a little low, so I don't touch him, but I'm ready to just blow the hell out of those guys. Squigs coming up behind. I am ready to eat some dwarfs. We go to the... Oh, so here are my spells first. This is the spells on my level 4, if I ever get any off. I got foot and I got hand. That's all I care about right now. Then I got Edbutt. Oh, I probably should have swapped that out because he doesn't have any wizards. That was dumb on my part. Hey, there's a lot to keep in my mind here at once, people. Then Fist. My level 1 Night Goblin knows Gift of the Spider God. That's on my far left flank. And then on this right flank, I've got Gorkle Fix-It and Itchy Nuisance. So we go to Magic. It's 9 dice to 10. Yeah, that's right. He gets a +4 every single turn. He has a +2 to Dispel, and he has +4 dice because of a Rune Lord, a Runesmith, and 2 from the Anvil. And he also has some rune that gives him a +5 to his Dispel attempts as well. So it's like a +3 summing with the +2 the army has. God, I cannot wait for the new book, because I'm not going to get any spells off. Unless I 6-die him. So that's what I do. I 6-die Hand of Gork, and I'm going to try to move that Mangler right up on him. And it's not Irresistible Force, so he dispels it. By the way, he has 4 Dispel Scrolls, 2 of which will eat the spell on a 4-up, and 2 of which will just cancel the spell. So on a 4-up, it'll remove it from my brain. Whew, 5,000 points is a lot to get through. It's craziness. That's basically the end of my Magic phase. Actually, I try Gorkle Fix-It over here. I totally forget about my Mushroom Dice this entire game. It wouldn't have really mattered, I don't think. But I tried to get Gorkle Fix-It on the Longbeards, and he dispels that. So I actually have some shooting. I do 1 wound on the Organ Gun crew from the Wolf Riders, which is pretty awesome. The Doom Diver gets a direct hit on Thorngrim. He's got 7 freaking wounds. I get 3 wounds to him, and he ward saves 2. He has a 1-up armor save, 4-up ward. So I do get 1 through on him. I got 6 left. I'm halfway done. The Rock Lava goes on the Thunderers. Direct hit, only kill 4, because basically everything in his army has a 4-up armor save. Man, dwarves are tough. Woo, baby. I go for Volley Fire here on the Longbeards, since I haven't moved, and I gave bows to all my Night Goblins. And I kill 4, basically. No, I'm sorry. I kill 2. Well, I'm reading the wrong line. I get 15 hits, 10 wounds, and he makes all but 2 armor saves from 10 wounds. God, it's going to be rough. My Spear Chucker hits and kills the Dragon Slayer. And just like, I don't get that performance out of Spear Chucker, so I'm really happy. First blood, 1 hero down, baby. I'll take that. Of the other 3 Spear Chuckers I don't have pictured, 1 blows up and 2 miss. The Wolf Chariot actually takes his bow out and lands 1 wound. The Wolf Riders land another, so that's pretty great. I'm getting a little blood here. And this is the end of the turn. You can see the green tide moving forward, and you damn dwarves are in big, big trouble. Just another picture of the end of turn. We go to Dwarf turn 1. The Gyrocopter flies over to shoot the wolves. The Slayers move forward just a bit, and Thorngrim backs up, as you can see on the right there. He doesn't really need to fight yet, or get charged with everyone else. We go to shooting, because obviously no magic. He adjusts his Longbeards a bit so that he can throw his throwing axes. In the corner, the Anvil tries for Ancient Power to move a bunch of guys around and fails. He can't shoot this turn or next because of it. So the Anvil's out for a little bit. The cannon misses on the Mangler and overshoots, hitting the Chariot, doing only 2 wounds. The Bolt Thrower hits the Mangler and finally kills it. So unfortunately, no delicious mangling of those dwarfs. But you got to expect the Manglers aren't going to live. The throwing axes on the Squigs, he kills 2 Night Goblins and 3 Squigs, so I've only got, 5 Night Goblins left. And once they're all gone, they blow up, if you're not familiar. The Organ Gun misfires, but his Engineer allows him to reroll. Since they've all got Engineers on him, he gets a reroll. He only gets 2 hits. I panic from the 2 wounds and go about like 10 inches or something like that. The Flaming Grudge Thrower hits the Trolls on a direct hit and gets so it's a Flaming Grudge Thrower with the Rune of Penetrating. So basically its strength is increased to 2. So everything around the pip is strength 5. So it's actually fairly strong. The troll in the center fails to get wounded, but I do take 7 wounds on the other ones. He rolled really well. And then now that regen's down for the rest of the phase, his Thunderers take aim and land 2 more wounds in there, which apparently I don't have a picture for. The Quarrelers shoot the Boar Boys and get 4 wounds. I armor save 3 of them, so only 1 dies. That's pretty great. Oh, and here's the picture. Another cannon goes into the Trolls, 1 wound only. A second cannon goes into the Trolls, 3 wounds, and then the Quarrelers there had gotten the 2. Now that regen's down, it's open season on the Trolls. But hey, I sent them forward for a reason. They need to soak up that fire. Here's a picture of the end of turn, but it doesn't really look like that much has changed. Orcs and Goblins turn 2, baby. So I roll. I get no animosity for the second turn, which is pretty fantastic. If this continues, it'll be great. The Boar Boys charge the Quarrelers. Stand and shoot kills only 1. I charge at the Squigs, and he stands and shoots with his throwing axes, and I lose 2 Night Goblins and 3 Squigs on the stand and shoot, but the rest are going to make it in. So then I charge my Chariot in, and this is fantastic because Squig herds are meant to kill dwarves. I'll go first, 2 strength, 5 attacks. Hatred, because it's a goblin unit, and I hate him. He also hates me, but I'll get to go first and soften this unit up. So I am excited about this. I make it in over here with my Boar Boys. What page are we on here? My notes, let's see. So the spiders went over the building because I don't have to worry about it, but I'm going to hold back with them. The giant starts walking around, and this is where I get overexcited, and I make a big mistake. I'm just not even thinking it through. There's just so much. I decide to move my Night Goblins forward, and I move them forward, I'm like, oh crap, I got to release the Fanatics. And instead of like saying, ooh, I want to back them up, I just let it happen. Because I'm thinking, oh, I'll soften them up. Well, the problem is, yeah, I can't hit them and really not hit my own guys. And I kind of was like, that's fine. I forgot at the time how good Squigs are against Dwarves. I should have held these guys back and released the Fanatics after I had done like probably 8 to 10 wounds with the Squigs. But unfortunately, I'm not that smart. I'm overexcited, so I send the 3 Fanatics through, kill both my units. The Squigs blow up. The Fanatics, totally, I only kill 11 and I lose my 2 units. It's really okay, but I could have taken, anywhere between 5 and 10 more dwarves out if I had gone into close combat. Then, next turn, let him either, move on to the Fanatics or not. So this was a total misplay on my part because I just wasn't really thinking it through, and that sucks because I gave up those 2 units without really having to. Or I had to give them up, but I would have had a much smaller horde to deal with later. So that sucks. I've learned my lesson. The Mangler doesn't move up that far, unfortunately, but I am staring right in front of those Slayers. I rally my 2 Goblins, and everything else is just basically moving closer. In the center, you can see I'm just closing in around the Trolls, bringing the Black Orcs behind. That's a magic circle in the middle, and we ruled it was not impassable terrain, which is why my Savages are going to go right over it. But I've got Leadership nearby, and Grimgore, and rerolls, and all that good stuff. We go to Magic Phase, it's 9 dice to 9. I throw 3 dice at Itchy Nuisance and forget about my my Mushroom die. He dispels it. Basically it. I throw the rest of my 6 dice at Foot of Gork, and I fail to cast, rolling like basically all 1s and 2s, which sucks, because I really wanted to get that Irresistible and start killing some of those guys. We go to my shooting phase. The Rock Lava hits a direct hit on the Hammerers. I wound 6 and only kill 3 because of his awesome armor save. The Spear Chukka over here, just shoots and hits the Gyrocopter right out of the air. Unfortunately, I only do 1 wound, which would have been nice to kill that thing. It was like a perfect shot, and Goblins don't do that. The Doom Diver misfires. I can't shoot this turn or next. That's on the far right flank. And then I go for a flank shot on the Slayers from my Chukka. There's another one you can't quite see, and I miss. In close combat, my little boars do 2 wounds. The orcs go and do 3. Turns out his guys have great weapons, and he does 3 back to me. But I win. He sticks on a 7. Not re-rollable because he's right outside of his BSB's bubble, but he sticks. Very sad. And that's the end of Orc and Goblin. Turn 2 on the left flank. And here's what the right flank looks like. So everyone's just putting pressure on him. We go to Dwarf turn 2, people. We've got miners coming in now this turn. They're coming in to eat the War Machine. So he comes on right there. And there's kind of like close to the bottom of the screen where my other 2 War Machines are. But he's got some options in who he wants to charge there. Miners come in on this side on my table edge. And they're going to probably just eat those 2 War Machines there with their great weapons. So that's a good play. So when he comes on, he's immediately within 8 of my Night Goblins. I release 2 Fanatics. One goes through and hits the board and explodes, the edge of the board. Doesn't do any damn wounds to him. I rolled like a 1 and it failed to wound. It's terrible. The second one lands like an inch in front of him, which is fine by me because that right now he's going to take double hits if he moves onto him. So instead, in his movement phase, they've come on. He does a swift reform and passes it, so he's now facing to the left. He's only 3 wide, but it doesn't matter. Fighting a war machine. So unless my goblin goes that way, he's going to avoid that fanatic. The Slayers try to charge the chariot and fail, which is good for my chariot because those Slayers would have eaten him for lunch. He tries to charge with Thorngrim and fails, which sucks because he also charges with this horde of hammerers and gets it in. Now Thorngrim is a beast in combat, especially against giants and trolls. His weapon multiplies to d6 wounds. He only has 4 attacks. He has 4 attacks on the guys at the bottom, but his weapon is like, he gives hatred to every unit that's in combat with him, and, multiplying to d6 wounds, that could be 4 dead trolls easily every turn, and failing is big for me here. His gyrocopter flies over to shoot 2 wolves, and we have to use that little piece of terrain to balance the gyro there. The Longbeards charge the wolves, and I decide not to flee because if I do flee, I'll go off the board, and then he'll just rally into my night, or he'll just probably redirect into my Night Goblins, and I can just delay him a little bit if I hold. The gyrocopter in the shooting phase fails to wound, and I don't know why it's not pictured here. Oh, it's just kind of off screen, I guess. You can barely see it there. The organ gun only does 2 wounds to the mangler, and then the grudge thrower has to finish him off, does a direct hit, and kills the mangler. So it's nice that it soaked up that much shooting. Cannon lands 3 wounds on the giant, and the second cannon hits, and I roll a 6-up ward on my war paint. That's right, I have enough points. I pay for the war paint to make that giant a 6-up ward save, and I save it. I think it's already paid for itself. Very happy about that. The bolt thrower lands and wounds the giant, and guess what? I roll a second 6-up ward save with the war paint. It's freaking great. Definitely paid for itself here. So the other cannon shoots to try to get, try to hit the spider. It can't kill it, but it does land 4 wounds on the spider. So suddenly that thing's at half-life, and it's like, oh crap. I put this picture into the cannon because my father-in-law was painting it up. He's got this cool little encampment for it, and he put some dead orc heads he found in my bits box around it, Orcs and Goblins, which is pretty fantastic. The Thunderers put 3 wounds on the chariot, but that's not enough to kill it. And we go into combat. The Wolves do 1 wound before just exploding, taking like 19 wounds or something. The Longbeards reform, and that's basically it over here. We're stuck in combat here with the pigs. I don't have any charge bonuses now, but I do 3 wounds at my pigs. The orcs get another 1 through. He kills only 2, but he's steadfast, and now the BSB's closer, having charged in, and he is in range, so he sticks because of the BSB reroll. So in the big combat, this is a picture after we both reformed. So what happens is the BSB attacks first, does 1 wound to me, rolling poorly, and I regen it. My trolls, I throw 2 pukes at the BSB thinking that's enough to kill him, and I only wound 1 of them. So the BSB still has 1 wound left. He's just got an armor save. So I'm going to have to put more pukes on him later. The trolls do 8 wounds to rank and file, and he fails to armor save any of them. He does 10 wounds to me, and I regen 5 of them, so that's awesome. And I stop 3 more. He has the Oath Stone on his BSB, but because he charged instead of receiving a charge, he couldn't set it and become unbreakable and all that. He is stubborn, because those are hammerers, but, or are those old grumblers? Is that how that works? I forget. Anyway, he's not going anywhere. He's steadfast, and we both reform I reform out of Horde. He reforms off to the side, out of Horde as well, and now Thorngrim can definitely get in there. Orcs and Goblins, turn 3. The Savages fail Animosity, and I take 2 wounds from the Black Orc, who beats the crap out of them. This is not good. This is not good. I fail Animosity of my Night Goblins and have to charge. And I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I wanted to shoot him and then tie him up. Ugh. So the Night Goblins go in. The Arachnarok, needing a very low roll, fails and can't get in. So he's sitting out there in front of all that artillery. I was going to go for that, what's that called, Bolt Thrower? I think I needed like a 6 on Swift Stride. It was like a 1-1-2. Just bad luck. So now the Arachnarok's in big trouble. I charge the chariot into the flank of the Slayers, and they can't flee, so that's going to be a lot of nice impact hits that are going to yield me some points, hopefully. I try for a swift reform here to face the miners with volley shots, and I fail it. Crabby, stupid leadership. I even have a 7 because I have a goblin character in there. But I fail it, so I'm just facing back that way and cannot shoot because it was a normal reform. The fanatic comes really close, doesn't go to the miners, and comes close to my guys instead. The savages couldn't get into Thorngrim here on a charge. They just couldn't fit with the pigs there, so I charged the chariot into Thorngrim. I'm hoping just for a couple of wounds from impact hits or something. I know Thorngrim's going to kill it, but hey, if I get lucky and stick, I'll hold him up or something. Oh, you can see up top the spider riders go into the cannon. They were coming around the forest, and the giant moves up around the building. We go to magic at 7 dice to 8, so I'm behind again. He has 4 plus 4, that he always gets. I try for 6 dice hand to Gork on the black orcs to move him around behind, and he dispels and eats it with the 4-up roll. So no hand to Gork in the game anymore. My rock lob in the shooting phase misfires and can't shoot this turn, taking a wound. The Spear Chukka shoots down the ranks that are only, it's 4. I get 3 wounds there, so that feels good, but it's pretty much moot. The Spear Chukka also shoots the miners who just popped up and kills 2, but again, not going to do that much. The Doom Diver can't shoot this turn, if you remember correctly. The spiders eat the cannon, and it turns out he has the Rune of Immolation, which explodes and kills all the spiders back. So both those guys are dead. That's kind of a fun rune. I like that. I'd put that all over. The wolves eat the organ gun, which is pretty great, but I do take 1 wound for my troubles. During impact hits here, let's see, where's my notes? I get 3 impact hits on the Slayers. He does 2 wounds to me, and I do 1 more to him on my initiative. And he's unbreakable. So he's got 2 left. He reforms, and at leader 10, that's no problem for him. And then, yeah, that's probably going to be the end of the chariot, even though it's got, I think it has 1 wound left at this point. 3 impact hits on King Thorngrim. 2 of them wound, and he fails 1 ward save. So I think that's a 3rd wound on him now. Then he kills the chariot outright. In the combat with the Boar Boys, he lands 5 wounds, which I armor save. And then, I think I only did 1 to him. Yep, and then he's steadfast by 1, so he sticks. In the Night Goblin combat, my god. I net him, but because he's strength 6, it doesn't matter. He's still wounding me on 2s. I only land 3 wounds on him, and he saves all but 1. And even with the nets, like I said, it's 2 plus to wound. My hero kills his champion. They kill each other at the Always Strike Last initiative phase. And even though I'm steadfast, it's on a 7 and 50-50. I break. He catches me and overruns, clipping the spider, barely. So he gets a free charge on the spider. And that spider's toast. That's a lot of great weapons that are going to hit that spider. So, unfortunately, going in too soon on this flank with the Fanatics, but then also failing Animosity meant that I just set it up for him. And the worst part about losing these is now he's going to have an overrun. He's going to get this horde just into combat sooner. I want these guys tied up on this flank, and so I'm just giving this to him. In combat with the Trolls, I throw 2 more pukes on the BSB and kill him, so that's nice that he won't get rerolls, but his leadership's pretty sky high. During other Troll attacks, I land 4 wounds. He only armor saves 1 of them. He does 4 to me, and then I stomp 3 back at him. So he sticks on Stubborn 10, and that's basically it for the combat. Here's a picture of the end of turn. We go to Dwarf turn 3. The High King, with his grudge book, makes a charge into the Trolls. I can't stop him this time. The Gyrocopter comes over to flame the last Troll. I'm sorry, the last Gobbo. Miners go into the Spear Chukka. Miners go into the Spear Chukka. I know it sounds like an echo. So in the shooting phase, first off, the Anvil of Doom is finally able to shoot again and fails trying to do Ancient Power once more. But it's basically going to get to shoot next turn. You have to roll on the chart. The Grudge Thrower lands a direct hit, but only a direct hit on 9 Black Orcs. The one under the hole in the middle fails to wound, and I take 4 wounds, but armor save 1 of them. The Gyrocopter fails to wound the Goblin. The Bolt Thrower misses the Giant because of soft cover from the forest, which is fantastic, because I think it only needed a 4 to hit, or 3 went to 4, or 4 went to 5, something like that. But soft cover is exactly what saved me there, so I was very happy. The cannon hits the Giant, the one on the right, and I 6-up ward save it again. Frickin' fantastic. The second cannon, the one over here, overshoots and misses. This giant has to live. God wants this giant to live. I've made 3 6-up ward saves now. It's awesome. We go to close combat. Yeah, roaches check in and they don't check out when it comes to great weapon Longbeard. So I get 2 wounds done and then the spider gets turned to liquid. The dwarfs overrun, unfortunately, and this is what I don't want. I don't want him being here and charging and doing all the... I don't want him in the fight, but unfortunately I can't do anything about it now. He kills my Chukka handily and overruns into the Doom Diver. And he kills this one, but can't get an overrun straight into the rock lava, so he's just going to reform to charge it next time. The Slayers finish off the 1 wound remaining chariot and turn to face the Boar Boys that were there. In the Boar Boy combat, they whiff, and I take 2 losses and break. So my champion gets away because dwarves are slow, and I bounce through my fanatics. In the main combat in the middle, the king goes first. Now he's multiplying. Remember, all of his wounds multiply d6 against trolls. I regen 3 of the 4 wounds the king lands. Whew! So I only lose 1 troll. I throw 4 pukes on the king because I think, you know what, with his 1-up armor save, the best I can do is just 50-50 ward save it. With his 4-up ward save, he saves 3 of them, so 1 more gets through. I don't think his wound counter's right now. I think he should be up to 4 wounds or something. But he still has 7. Crazy. 2 more wounds come out from the trolls on the rank and file. He throws 8 on me, and I only fail 2 of the regens, which is pretty great. I do 3 stomps. He gets a couple of 6+ armor saves. I land 1 more wound. Basically, when it's all said and done, it's a steadfast 9 re-rollable, and he makes it. Orcs and Goblins turn 3. So I put the Black Orcs into the building because I think that's going to, I can't get around and get into combat here. And I'm just like, you know what? They're going to, his Longbeards might make a long charge. I'll just pop out later and let's just go into the building. That's kind of what I was thinking. I was feeling crowded. I don't think that was a good move, but I was feeling crowded. So the Savages can't get into Thorngrim. I try. They're too damn big. Frickin' horde formation. So I charge the Quarrelers to get them out of the way, and unfortunately I'm going to have to overrun, but hopefully I'll just be able to mop these 2 groups up, because you'll see I'll clip the Thunderers there. The Giant fails a fairly average charge into the Thunderers. I wanted him in the flank, and then I could join in my Savages. Sadly, he fails, so he's going to be stuck out here, and I've got to rely on his ward save again, his 6-up. Go to Magic, it's 8 dice to 8. I throw 6 dice and Gift to the Spider God for shooting, and I get it off Irresistible Force. That is the first spell I've gotten off. So now I'm going to Volley Fire because I haven't moved. I'm going to be poisoning, and it's just anything to take these miners out for points. That's the best these guys can do over here. I end up taking a wound on this caster only from the miscast. His miners, one of the Doom Diver crews punches a miner in the face and kills it, and then the Doom Diver dies. In combat, I had charged the Gyrocopter here and put 1 wound on it with my single remaining Wolf Rider, but he sticks because he has a high leadership. The Savages kill and overrun to the Quarrelers, and that's as much as I can maximize here with Fatty King in the way. But hopefully I won't overrun too far and I can turn around next turn. The King goes first again. He lands, I think, a wound or 2 that multiply. I throw 4 pukes on the King. And he ward saves, I think 4 pukes, only 1 of them wounds, and he ward saves it. Just kind of bad rolling on my part, because it's a 4-up to puke on him. His hammers get 1 wound, which I regen. He lands 2 wounds, and I break him in combat res. Now, the king isn't going anywhere, but his group of hammerers break with his runesmith in there. Now, the banner's there. We realize it a little bit later that thing's dead and we'll remove it. But we realize that eventually. So there's only 2 guys left. But those are all the points for the hammerers because there's a champion and the runesmith in there who's just a character. So I gotta catch him. Dwarf turn 4. The Slayers try to charge the flank to hold up the Savages since they're unbreakable, and they fail. That kind of sucks because I was hoping he would charge in there and stop me from overrunning any further. The Longbeards try to charge the Giant. No way, I'm fleeing. And so I flee right in front of the cannon. Then he makes his redirect and redirects into the Trolls. He makes his test, but it's a long charge and he fails it. So he's basically stuck where he is. So that worked out pretty well for me. However, we go to the shooting phase and the Anvil's able to shoot again. He decides, no, after me coaching him to not do the Ancient Power, he decides to do the normal one, gets the rune, I think it's Rune of Hearth and something, which allows him to move and declare a charge in the charge phase, and he basically fixes that charge. Now he is into the flank because of the anvil. So that should work out pretty well for him. He grape shots the giant here, lands only 2 wounds, so he has 1 left. The bolt thrower hits and wounds, and I make my 6-up ward. I think that's 4 6-up wards now. The second cannon, however, turns, lands, and finally kills him. And this is right about when I realize that he has 1 too many cannons. He shouldn't have that many, but at this point, it's too much to undo it. I'm just giving him a birthday present because it was basically his birthday. And sadly, the giant dies. Play the sad music, everyone. The grudge thrower drifts off and doesn't hit anyone. In close combat, it's a push between the gyrocopter and the wolf rider. So with the savages, this is bad. I delete the unit of thunderers and overrun like 11 inches and get into the cannon. Now why this is bad is because I'm going to run off the board and then I'm going to have to come back on and it's going to be too late for these guys to do anything. That sucks. This is bad playing on my part. I should not have... I just should have been able to focus on where the king was going to be instead of overrunning, and it's just frenzy took me out of this. Very sad. You're gonna roll big when you don't need it, and now I'm going off the board. So I can't blame anyone but myself and dice. In close combat, the king kills 2 trolls outright with his multiplying wounds. He takes 2 more wounds. 2 more wounds. I think he's up to like 6. I think the dice are wrong at this point. If I do 2 more wounds to him, he's getting close to death. And this is just from puking. The trolls kill a few to the flank, but I break because of combat. I don't have that many numbers, and it's a 5, not re-rollable now because the BSB ran so far away. I probably should have done this combat first. I didn't really think about that till right now, but that would have helped. It's 5 re-rollable. I might not have made it anyway. I break, and he runs me down. Very, very sad. Malorian, I feel like I misused the trolls. He should not have died. He should have got away. So sad. The miners are heading in over here, and the miners kill the, was that a rock lob over there, and are starting to head in, but they're pretty much out of the game. Black Orcs come out of the building thinking, so it's Orcs and Goblins turn 5. They come out of the building thinking, holy crap, we got to get some points here. We screwed up. How could we let this game get away from us? And so now they're coming out of the building. I fail animosity on my goblins and can't charge the remaining miners that are in that corner. It was a long charge. I might not have made it, but I failed. The fanatic tries and just, gets as close to the remaining slayers as possible, but still not getting me any points there. The spear chukka hits the flank of the hammerers that just killed my trolls and killed 4 of them. He failed his panic test, and he was bolting towards my savages that are actually off the board at this point. But then we realized that they were old grumblers. They were upgraded, so they can't actually panic. Here, this is just showing that I deleted the unit, deleted the cannon that was there, and ran off the board. These guys are just marking where they're going to come back on, but they're not there right now. And... that's it. This is the turn. This is the end of my turn 5. So go to Dwarf turn 5. Now they're starting to move pretty quickly here because we're getting near the end of the game. He moves his unit and his champion to stop me from being able... those are points of the Runesmith, but he doesn't want me charging the king with Black Orcs. Black Orcs are scary. So he moves those guys in there just in case he needs to speed bump me. The gyrocopter finishes off the last wolf in close combat, which sucks for me. And that's basically it. His turn is just moving away. We go to Orcs and Goblins turn 6. I charge his little 2 dinky guys because they're in the way, and he flees. Doesn't flee enough, so I'm not on the board at this time with the savages on the left because this is the charge phase. He flees, and I redirect. This wasn't smart of me. I redirect into his Longbeards who flee through the king, and that doesn't buy me anything. I should have realized he would bounce through. I couldn't have caught him. I don't think, now that I'm looking at this, that I was going to be able to fit. I don't have a good picture of this, but I think part of the reason that I charged the Longbeards, who have made it like all the way across the board now, is because I didn't think I was going to be able to wheel and complete a charge against those 2 characters. And but yeah, obviously at this point I'm not going to be able to charge anyone and get any points for those units. There's just so many points on the board that I can't touch. Oh, it's just bad play on my part. Then my savages come on, and I fail a swift reform again with those goblins in the lower right there so that I could shoot my bows, do a volley fire on the champion. It's another 50-50. I failed. Just some bad luck because that could get me those whole points, man. We go to the magic phase, and I really need to get off a spell here. So I go for Foot of Gork. I need to irresistible it. It's 4 dice to his 7. Maybe it was 4 to 6, something like that. I failed to cast the Foot of Gork, so he can't remove it, but it pretty much is moot at this point. I aim with my Spear Chukka. I need a 4, or I need a 5 to hit because it's at long distance, but if I hit them both, I'll go down the ranks, and I roll a 4, which sucks. It wasn't likely to hit, but I'm just throwing anything I can to get these points off the board, and nothing is turning up Millhouse here, unfortunately. So you can see his new placement he said. I don't really know what the heck. Oh yeah. No, I don't. I wrote down. You can see his new placement, but he's set. I don't know what that means. Oh yeah. So this is dwarf. This is the next dwarf turn. So he's turned and just kind of faced inward. He throws his grudge thrower at my goblins, just trying to panic them. They can't even go off the board. He gets pretty close to a direct hit and kills 11. I pass the panic, but it pretty much doesn't matter. And this is the end of the dwarf turn. This is what it looks like. I've got so many points on the board ready just to kill. Like, so many units of his are diminished that I can just mop up those points. He's standing right in front of my savages, but because we agreed to 6 turns, I can't get those points. And at the end of the game, he's killed about 2,500, and I've killed only about 1,600, 1,500 right in there. It's a staggering loss for the Orcs and Goblins, and I actually kind of feel good that the Dwarves won, you know? It's the last game of the last book. Maybe they needed a win. And, you know, between playing poorly on the right flank early on and animosity not helping and a bunch of failed, animosity, frenzy, and a couple of failed leadership tests, I just kind of stumbled my way out of a win. I had this thing locked up. In fact, that was one of the reasons I moved those Black Orcs into the building. I was like, this shit just got so much power bearing down on them. But he managed to get all the way across the board and just wipe my stuff out and then avoid combat when he needed it. So it was a very strong win for the Dwarves and a really fun game. We were laughing the whole time. I think it took us like 11 hours to play. I'm sure we got some of the rules wrong because it's really hard to look at the book when you're not familiar with it. It's hard to look up the FAQ for the Dwarves. These guys definitely need a new book. But let me tell you, kudos to anyone who doesn't do a full gun line. There was a lot of gun lines here. Dwarves can fight, man, especially against Orcs and Goblins when they have hatred. But they've got 4-up armor save all over the place. You know, they hit hard. They're pretty fun. I like the Dwarves, man. They're cool. Plus, their lore is just the best. So we were drinking beer the whole time in the spirit of the Dwarves. It was a fantastic 5,000-point game. We were dog tired at the end. And I can't think of a better way to send out the old book than giving them a win against the Orcs and Goblins. So thanks for watching, everyone.